What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Be a part of the biggest and best daily baseball show on YouTube. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start off with Matt Strahm, who is really good, with 6 Ks and 5 scoreless innings. His fastballs and curveballs all working, and pitch with emotion, which I love. And I'd pitch with emotion too if I outdueled Sandy Alcantara. Sandy had 4 Ks thanks to his changeup and two-seamer, but gave up 9 runs. Pretty uncharacteristic for the defending Cy Young Award winner. Kyle Gibson had this beautiful sweeper on his way to 4 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up only 1 run. Jalen Beeks was the opener yesterday and had 2 strikeouts in 2 innings, and look at his unique arm action. That's about as short as you can get, and he throws 95. He faced off against Nick Pivetta, who is really good. He had 6 Ks and 5 scoreless innings, giving up 3 hits. He had his fastball, his slider, and his beautiful knuckle curve all working. Look at that great 12-6 spin on that knuckle curve. And because of that spin, he's able to get a ton of drop. He averages 62.3 inches of drop on his knuckle curve. Drew Smiley had 7 Ks in 5 innings, giving up only 1 run, thanks mostly to his knuckle curves. And he outdueled Luis Castillo, who had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had this changeup and slider. Graham Ashcraft had his high velo sliders and cutters working. He had 7 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs. I thought that jump in Ks was a good sign for Ashcraft, who's a very talented young pitcher, but sometimes doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. He was up against Bryce Elder, who was really good again. Elder had 7 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up no runs. He had this filth, and then also got this call where Steer was steered to the eternal IL by the Ripper. The moral of this story is Steer had to learn to respect his elder, and the Ripper was just the guy to make him learn that lesson the hard way. Framber Valdez had 5 Ks in 7 innings thanks to his cutter, changeup, sinker, and of course, his beautiful curveball. Shane Bieber had these sliders and 92-mile-an-hour painted fastball on his way to 4 Ks in 7 innings, giving up only 2 runs. Kenta Maeda had this splitter on his way to 3 Ks in 6 innings, but did give up 4 runs. He was up against Dylan Cease, who was solid with 6 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 1 earned run. Cease wasn't incredibly dominant, but he did get Ks on his fastballs, his sliders, and his knuckle curves. And I love this sequence where he throws a beautiful knuckle curve and then gets to bend the knee on an elevated fastball. You can see right after that curveball how Cease confidently calls an elevated fastball on PitchCom because he knows the tunneling effect that that's going to have. And here's an overlay of those 2 pitches, which shows you that Cease was right. That is an unhittable tunnel and would make you bend the knee as well. Yu Darvish had his mix of sliders, cutters, and splitters on his way to 5 strikeouts in 6 1/3 innings. He did give up 5 runs, and he faced off against Max Scherzer, who didn't quite have his A game, but had 6 Ks in 5 innings, giving up only 1 run. He had solid fastballs, including this one at the knees, an elevated slider, and this 87-mile-an-hour hard slider or cutter to get the sword. Logan Webb had 6 Ks in 6 innings, gave up 4 runs, but had this gorgeous 93-mile-an-hour backdoor two-seamer, as well as his changeup. He was outdueled by Julio Urias, who was very good, with 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 run. He had these filthy slurves. Look at the movement on those. A nasty changeup and painted with his fastball. And here's a home plate view of Urias' fastball, and you can see how that thing is sneaky quick. Zach Greinke got a sword with this slider, and he was outdueled by Andrew Heaney, who was absolutely incredible yesterday. How incredible was he? Well, his first 10 outs of this game were all strikeouts. That is pure insanity. He broke the Texas team record for consecutive Ks held by Nolan Ryan, and he tied the record for the entire AL in consecutive Ks. Out of nowhere, a record-breaking performance by the Heen Dog. Wade Miley had this paint, and he faced off against yesterday's filthiest starting pitcher, Zac Gallen. Zac Gallen had 11 Ks in 7 scoreless innings and put on an absolute knuckle curve clinic. Look at these absolute hammers. Just knuckle curve porn. And I love what he did here to Voit. Just absolutely bullies him, and look at Voigt's face. And of course, this at bat ended with a knuckle curve and a giant from Voit. Now, Gallen wasn't all knuckle curves. He did work in his cutter and changeup for Ks, and even got this pitch clock violation, auto K. And here's an overlay of Zac Gallen's fastball mechanics with his auto K throw the ball around the diamond mechanics. Impressive stuff from Zac Gallen. And as a bonus for watching, here is Zac Gallen's knuckle curve grip.
Spike knuckle curve right here.
How are you releasing it?
Pretty much just like straight up, like trying to just get straight over the top, like as close to 12-6 that I possibly can get.
Now on to my filthiest relievers. Aaron Bummer had this nasty sweeper. Caleb Thielbar had this beautiful 74-mile-an-hour curveball. Jimmy Lambert had this curveball. Zach Jackson K'd the side and got this sword. Andrew Chafin K'd the side with this. Josh Fleming was nasty with his sinker, changeup, and curveball and had 5 Ks in 4 innings in relief. Pete Fairbanks had this 99-mile-an-hour gas. Emmanuel Clase had Ks with his cutter and slider and got a sword. Ronaldo Lopez had these sliders and 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. David Robertson had this beautiful changeup and cutter. Adam Ottavino had this crazy backdoor two-seamer that ran 20 inches back to the plate. You could see why with that ridiculous movement that you'd give up on that pitch and end up going down looking. James Karinchak had 2 Ks and then went full Karinchak with his K celebration. You gotta love this dude's energy. Nate Eaton came in to pitch for the Royals and was perhaps the filthiest position player pitching you will see. I mean, check this stuff out.
Wow, look at that movement.
And my filthiest reliever yesterday was Felix Bautista, who absolutely destroyed the side with splitters. His splitter is just impossible. In fact, opponents have an 87.5% whiff rate on his splitter this season. And here are a couple of overlays of his 100-mile-an-hour fastball with those splitters, and you can see why opponents whiff at it. Unfair stuff. Before Will Leahey's Dong of the Week, I thought I'd give a shout out to some Mets hitters, kind of the opposite of Dong of the Week. Both of these hits happened in the same half inning. Literally, the baseball dies on the line for a fair ball twice. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Remember, you've got to tip the grounds crew.
Ninja back at it again with some incredible dongs. Starting off here with Ryan Mountcastle, and he blasts this ball 421. Sensational catch by this guy, he loves it. But this might not be the long dong of the week, but it's being featured because it's the dong bong of the week. That's right, Ninja. He immediately hits the homer hose like he's Frank the Tank. And I got boots on the ground down there. I have official word that that is real beer that they're using. The Orioles are just getting pounded during the games. Then later in the game, up comes Rushman. He blasts one. And right when he gets the dugout, he also pummels the funnel like he's Phil Crundle. But the long dong of the week goes to Franimal the Animal Reyes.
Oh.
He blasts this ball 455 all the way to Stuttgart and just enjoys himself around the bases here. That's your dong of the week.
And now, my Pitching Ninja moment of Zen. It's Zach Greinke laughing with his friends. It's Yu Darvish hugging his friend, Kodai Senga, Mr. Ghost Fork. Trent Grisham sharing bubblegum with his newfound friends. And Shohei Ohtani playing baseball with his imaginary friends. What is up, everybody? My picks of the day today are 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start out with Garrett Cole for 7 Ks or more, then take Jesus Luzardo, the Jesus Lizard, for 7 Ks or more, and top it off with Shohei Ohtani for 8 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?